Last 4 days on Earth? If I had a dick, I'd go get laid. We can do the next best thing.
What's that?
Huh? Let's kill people. Oh, not you.
Welcome back to Opinionated Cheese, my friends. It's your boy, Papa Cheesy, here to continue my series of videos on the director known as Kevin Smith. Up front, I want to say that Dogma is a really good movie and one of my favorite Kevin Smith films. But explaining why it's good, perhaps, is not so simple. Instead of just going into the summary of the movie, let's address one of the elephants in the room. This film is about God and the Bible. Specifically the Catholic interpretation of things, but God all the same. So your enjoyment of this film will largely depend on your tolerance for that subject matter. If you're a hardcore atheist or a devout believer in another form of faith, you might not enjoy this film. But if you can be open-minded or at least tolerant, I think you could get a lot out of this movie. This is also the part of the video where I get to awkwardly explain where I stand on religion. So, for the longest time, I would classify myself as a deist. But even then, I don't think that fully covers it. But to keep it short, I don't go to church, I don't follow the Bible or any other form of text because I don't believe that mankind has truly figured itself out. But on the other end of the coin, I know I believe in something because there have been too many weird moments of, call it fate or coincidence in my life to lead me to believe that none of this has any purpose. Okay, so now that you're no doubt already commenting on what an idiot I am, let's jump into the summary of this movie. We open with a jolly elderly man getting the living shit kicked out of him on a New Jersey pier. We get some more setup with a press conference at a Catholic church led by a cardinal played by the legendary George Carlin. He announces some changes the church will be making to allow itself to be more marketable.
Christ didn't come to earth to give us the willies. He came to help us out. He was a booster. And it's with that take on our Lord in mind that we've come up with a new, more inspiring sigil. I give you the Buddy Christ.
Next up, we are introduced to Bartleby and Loki, played by the duo of Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. The two are casually bantering about when things take a turn for the serious, as they begin to discuss how to get back into heaven.
Read.
Cardinal Glick cuts ribbon on Catholicism WOW campaign. And?
You have to keep reading.
It turns out they are both fallen angels and have been outcasted to live out life on Earth. That church we saw in the previous scene has created a loophole that will allow them to ascend the heavenly gates once more.
But this is church law. It's not divine mandate. Church laws are fallible because they're created by man.
One of the last sacred promises, imparted to Peter, first pope, by the Son of God before he left was, whatever you hold true on earth, I'll hold true in heaven. It's dogmatic law. The church says it's so, God must adhere. This thing has a papal sanction.
Let it never be said that your anal retentive attention to detail never yielded positive results.
Can't be anal retentive if you don't have an anus.
Outstanding work!
Okay, so after all that setup, the movie finally narrows its focus on Bethany Sloan, played by Linda Fiorentino. Bethany goes about her daily life growing increasingly more jaded with her Catholic upbringing, and she begins to question her existence and purpose. Sounds like a protagonist to me.
He told me something. He said that faith is like a glass of water. When you're young, the glass is little, so it's easy to fill. As you get older, the glass gets bigger, the same amount of liquid doesn't fill it anymore. But periodically, the glass has to be refilled.
You're suggesting I need to get filled?
In more ways than one.
One night, Bethany is visited by the Metatron, played by the legendary Alan Rickman.
I am the Metatron. Don't tell me the name doesn't ring a bell. You people. If there isn't a movie about it, it's not worth knowing, is it? Metatron acts as the voice of God. Any documented occasion when some Yahoo claims that God has spoken to them, they're speaking to me. Or they're talking to themselves.
He has the almighty task of telling Bethany where her journey must go, She must stop Bartleby and Loki from going through with their plan.
Stop a couple of angels from entering and thus negating all existence.
Wait. Repeat that.
Stop a couple of angels from entering and thus negating all existence. I hate it when people need it spelled out for them.
For the record, I work in an abortion clinic.
Noah was a drunk. Look what he accomplished.
What follows is an odyssey full of memorable characters played by a great supporting cast featuring the likes of Chris Rock.
Christ? You knew Christ?
No, shit, nigga owes me $12.
Are you gonna listen to this shit?
You know, that's just what the good people at Antioch were saying, right before they stoned my ass.
You were martyred?
Well, that's one way of putting it. Another way is to say I was bludgeoned and shit by big fucking rocks.
Selma Hayek.
It's not about who's right or wrong. No denominations nailed it yet, because they're all too self-righteous to realize that it doesn't matter what you have faith in, just that you have faith.
Jason Lee.
Orders are to terminate you on sight.
Really? Why?
Because you're pissing people off, that's why.
A ton of hilarious moments, largely coming from fan favorite Jay of Jay and Silent Bob, played by Jason Mewes.
He starts sobbing like a little bitch with a skin knee and shit. And there's nothing worse than watching a fucking fat man weep.
You're going to lead me somewhere.
Me lead you? Lady, look at me. I don't even know where the hell I am half the time. Don't worry about it. We even the score. Hand it over, Silent Boom. What up?
You stole the Cardinals driver?
This is what he gets for messing with a girlfriend. Cross-dressing fuck. Guys, I guess just don't follow the fucking sky, you know? Beautiful, naked, big-titted women just don't follow the sky, you know?
Dogma may in fact be controversial, but it is no doubt made with heart, passion, conviction, sincerity, and really, in the end, what more could you ask for?
Wake up! These humans have besmirched everything he's bestowed upon them. They were given paradise, they threw it away. They were given this planet, they destroyed it. They were favored best among all his endeavors, and some of them don't even believe he exists.
Mass attendance is at an all-time low in this country, but...
Why doesn't God speak for himself?
Glad you decided to join the conversation. To answer that, human beings have neither the oral nor the psychological capacity to withstand the awesome power of God's true voice. Were you to hear it, your mind would cave in and your heart would explode within your chest. We went through 5 Adams before we figured that one out.
Genuinely, while rewatching this, it was really hard to find faults with it. But this is the internet, and we love to nitpick, so let's go ahead and nitpick. Remember these hockey stick-wielding teenagers? Well, it turns out that they are not mere mortals, they are hellspawn. Now, wouldn't it have been cool to break the motif of them being human-looking and actually see them as demon spawn? I mean, I know the movie covers this with a line of dialogue.
I told them I was coming up on a routine possession. Look, I don't have much time. If they figure out my ruse, they'll come looking for me.
An incantation I picked up in the pit kept them cloaked and off heaven's radars. And aside from the triplets here and the Golgothan, no soul in hell had a clue as to what was going on.
Actually, yeah, I can't nitpick that. It's perfect. After watching a scene where Selma Hayek basically does a striptease in underwear, we then cut to a shot of her lifting her skirt up, and she doesn't appear to be wearing underwear to prove a point that she doesn't have genitalia. Why isn't she wearing underwear under her skirt? Jesus Christ. Am I really complaining about Selma Hayek not wearing underwear? I mean... I take it back. I'm a fool. A goddamn fool.
Like a goddamn fool!
Hello, my friends. So obviously those nitpicks aren't real. Those are jokes, because jokes are fun, and because I am delaying the inevitable, which is this conversation. Know that I have recorded this about 4 different times, because it's just that awkward for me to say. But you, in the end, should know how I feel about this particular subject if you're going to continue watching my videos, because I will always be honest with you, whether you agree with me or not. You know, this movie was made in the 90s, so maybe it gets a little leeway with that. But the fact is, it's 2019, and we know a lot more about the Catholic Church than we did previously. We know a lot more about the cover-up and the systematic molestation and rape of children. There's no other way to say it. Let's just throw it out there. The Catholic Church is really responsible for some really evil shit beyond all the other things we know about them. I honestly just don't get how anyone could call themselves a Catholic after knowing that kind of information. And I get it, you know, faith is kind of irrational in that sense. I know that because I have faith, and I know it's kind of irrational. But, like, you know, it's okay to believe in Jesus, and it's okay to believe in all of these things, and not call yourself a Catholic. And I just don't understand how, in light of all of that, how anyone could still call themselves a Catholic. But, you know, to be lighthearted, in the end, even that is a nitpick, because this movie isn't Holy Writ in being a Catholic is amazing. George Carlin plays the only Catholic figure in the entire movie, and he's basically playing an asshole. Kevin Smith has a lot of heavy commentary about the Bible and about belief, and you know that really took balls, because if you're not aware of it, he received a lot of death threats and really crazy shit over this movie. Unlike Clerks, which you can call the indie darling, or Mallrats, which you could call the studio film, or Chasing Amy, which you can call his romance film, what separates Dogma from the rest is that it really is a passion project, because it takes real strength and bravery to be able to make a movie about this subject, because so many people have such crazy, die-hard beliefs with it. And Kevin, I basically commend you for that. I could go on, but Dogma's a great movie, and I look forward to discussing his next project with you, especially because it's a bit more of the crazier ones, but it's really good. More videos to come besides this, but Kevin Smith videos obviously are on their way. Thank you so much. Comment below, let me know what you think of Dogma. Subscribe to my channel if you're new here, and, you know, hopefully you don't think I'm too much of a schmuck. Papa Cheesy out.